Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe, entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Thank you for joining us live from the bottom of my garden in the pub shed. Nice backdrop. So we're here once again with Tony Robinson, OBE, microbiz champion, author, fundraiser, poet, runner, and of course, happypreneur.
Yeah.
Because we'll be talking about the Happypreneur book. When was this?
That's the second edition, so that's only been out a year, but the first one was out 3 years ago. Yeah.
3 years. That flew, wasn't it? There's Adrian. You forgot to mention that Tony is also George Clooney impersonator from his time on Microbiz Matters Day.
That's true.
Right, hang on, Adrian. What's that about?
Yeah, well, I usually have a George Clooney mask on, but I haven't brought it with me to sizzling Star Shields with me.
Wonderful. And there's Sadie here from Excluded UK. Scotland, thanks for joining us, Sadie. There's our Jill, look, from Organisation for Responsible Business. Hi, Jill. We've just been talking about Jill as well.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, we've got Jill's book there. Jill's new book.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, we've got Barry here. Tony, super fan. A super fan. Wow. Yeah, we've got plenty of those. Well, not we, you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
This is good. Can I make a presentation?
Go on.
So basically, in Happypreneuria, we've only got one C on one side in Happypreneuria. But in Happypreneuria, a couple of my Happypreneurs mates and I went fishing, and we brought for you in sizzling South Shields some fish. So one for Barbara, one for Misha, and one for you. So
well,
there we go.
Misha has just said hello there.
So fish.
Misha, we've got your fish.
Fish, yeah. So I don't know where the brown one comes from. I think something to do with climate change. I hope it's not to do with sewage in the sea. But yeah, so basically, so I don't know where the brown. You can fight over the brown one, but the other white fish, I know they're legit. Oh, I've broken one already.
Which one?
I've broken that one.
Well, that one's mine then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Yeah, good.
Thanks for sharing the book, Jill says.
Good.
Yeah, wonderful.
It's a wonderful book.
It really is.
And it's all about Jill showcasing all of the businesses that are members of the Organisation for Responsible Business. Because what we've got to do is be proud and loud about being business owners. And these are all businesses that are making a difference for the environment, for people, for quality of lives. Everything that we're talking about all day, they're leading the way. The big corporates will never do any of that. The big institutions, governments, they will never do any of this. It's business owners, responsible business owners that are leading the way. So it's all in Jill's book.
We've been live 5 minutes. There's his first rant, right? First one.
There you go.
What do you think about the pub? Okay.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Good,
this is great. In fact, we have sequestered this for Happypreneuria because we like colonized places.
Right.
So every now and again, I will be spending 2 or 3 days here. And nights.
Well, this is from Oktoberfest last week. We had Oktoberfest in here. Right. So let's have a little look. I've got some questions for you.
All right.
But again, feel free to jump in. I want to take you back to June 2020. Now, you said that was 3 years old. Was it 2019, the Happypreneur book?
Yeah.
So June 2020. And I want to remind you about a protest song that you did. Because I think that might have been a bit of a turning point because you recorded and you broadcasted this song. Don't Think Twice, It's Our Lives.
Correct.
Yeah, and on YouTube. Other social channels as well?
Yeah. Just went on all the channels I could do. Which was Black Lives Matter Day, I remember.
That's right.
So it was actually Black Lives Matter.
So, you're a creative guy. We mentioned before about, the poetry, fiction, non-fiction, you like writing. You've got your poetry books with us as well. They're great. But in 2020, I think, us as content creators, sometimes you feel a bit helpless, don't you? And you sort of, your thoughts can come out in content. And obviously you wrote this song, which was a protest song, directed at the PM, Boris Johnson at the time.
BJ.
BJ. And one of the lines was, I've got it written down. You've killed our livelihoods and we got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That was a bit of a...
Yeah, basically, it was a big turning point, really. In fact, at that point in time, I'd actually started campaigning for Forgotten Limited, and Excluded UK was like a month or 6 weeks in, if you like. Sonali and Aaron and Kate and different people had created Excluded UK. And I suddenly realized after the George Floyd killing as well in America, that what was actually happening. And you've got to remember that I've been campaigning on behalf of micro business owners for a very long time. And it's the dehumanization of people. It's not just discrimination. It was actually saying to the 3 million people that were excluded from income support, you're not viable, you should get a proper job, do you know what I mean? And that's the same thing that happens with racism. It's about making people feel worthless, really. Okay. And racism hasn't progressed a great deal in America or in the UK. In fact, people probably feel less safe because of racism in the UK and America than they do now. And the problem is that, and this is the serious bit, will be a little bit lighter, but I actually felt that, my goodness, from when my dad was self-employed, when I started my business, we've now got to the position where 3 million people, they find 16 different excuses to exclude them from income support, including every single person that's just started up a business.
Yeah.
And yet we are, the MPs and the politicians say, we're the backbone of the economy, if you like. Well, we are. But they don't really believe that. It's completely lip service. So it's a complete turning point, because I thought, well, obviously the Micro Biz Matters movement, all of this stuff that I've done in the past, a number of national organizations I've founded, they were very successful for a while, but that decision to exclude 3 million immediately showed, well, made no impression. Yeah. So people like Charles and I, what we did was we actually decided that we would be better as supporters. Charles Cracknell in Hull. So Charles and I, we became fans and became supporters of the Excluded UK movement. And a bit like racism and various things, people like Kanye King and Tim Campbell are far better to be spokespeople on issues like that than I think you do okay.
I've had 2 hours of this, by the way.
Obviously, no, but seriously, so the best people to be spokespeople for Excluded were the excluded.
I agree.
I agree. And what we could do is best be supporters. But then I had to so it was a real turning point, because I really decided that the things I'd been doing obviously hadn't worked. And so I needed to find some things to do to actually improve the lot for self-employed and micro business owners. But it's tragic, absolutely tragic.
That's what I touched upon there about sort of, your creative side. You almost feel quite frustrated that you can't do anything, and you listen to some of the rhetoric that comes out. I mean, we've just been chatting earlier on there in the kitchen about Rishi this week, just deciding that he's just going to throw out about men and women, and that, and then
what was that about?
Totally alienate, community. Well, votes, isn't it? It's getting votes, and they'll promise all these things that they just don't come to fruition. So it's people like us, on the sidelines, just think, well, what can we do? So obviously, what you did was you took pen to paper and you recorded that song about BJ. And is that why you do some of the things that you do to get that feeling out, the frustration?
I don't usually do personality attacks, but he'd certainly done enough personality attacks on me, kind of things, with some of the things he was saying about people like me. The reason I wanted to do it was that, there are 3 verses in there. One was about the old people that we didn't care for. Yeah. The others was obviously about Black lives, and the middle one was about, don't think twice, it's our lives was the song, because I really wanted to just encapsulate that it's anybody that is not, what can I say, in the wealthier part of the of the community is actually being excluded. So it was, I don't get angry because I am a happypreneur. I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I do want to now and again shock some people, and that particular poem and song did shock some people, and of course it got me cancelled from everything really. So therefore I couldn't be a spokesperson for anybody because.
But just point you at this comment. I'll read it for you. They say that we paid taxes all our lives. We put into the system. Yet when we first needed support, they turned their backs on us. I will never forgive nor forget that. Powerful words there. People will not forget, no matter what happens. And actually, if you remember, BJ was kicked out, and then we had the man who was making all these decisions now has gone into PM.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah.
And we won't forgive or forget that. So
and we won't forget as well. People like Charles and I will not forget all the people that did get some money that turned their back on the 3 million.
Yeah.
Because I mean that is the, there's 151 case studies, if you like, in here of people that were excluded. I don't know if Stephen Little's on there. He was excluded for the most bizarre of reasons. He'd made 50,000 profit. And if you made that amount of profit, just think of the billions they gave the large companies. But anyway, but as I say, there's 150 case studies in here. People excluded, and what runs through all of them is a bit like that comment we've got there. We just can't believe it. What have we done?
Well, Adrian says there, not just businesses, homes, families, naturally.
People were even, there's lives, even one in here that actually did make me cry, which was somebody actually was selling her body. So, people have lost everything as a result of this. And as you say, but it's all about marginalisation. It's all about saying, well, these are the people, I think they said at one point, well, they're not Tory voters, didn't they? Oh my God,
Yeah. And Jennifer mentions there, 35 suicides in excluded UK alone. And that's the ones that, the mental health team in there know about. And,
And that's the point. I mean, we only know about the ones that for the fantastic Facebook group and mental health provision that Jennifer's provided. And so, the best thing that we could do was raise funds, so that she could actually do this mental health counselling and help the people. But that was only people that were known to us, that 30-odd suicide. How many there have been and how many have been subsequently? It's carnage. It's absolute carnage.
Let's touch upon that then. So, yes, it was carnage, but it's actually still carnage.
Yeah, exactly.
So the worry is that we kind of think, oh, that was then and everything's okay now. Now, they touched upon that at the top of the show there. People are still struggling, financially, mentally, relationship breakdowns, businesses closing, people having to go into employment where maybe they weren't employed for decades before that. And there's a kind of culture change.
Yeah.
What do we do with that?
Yeah, well, and that's the point about the turning point. So we've got to, you've done a number of things yourself, and we just need more people doing like what you're doing and what Jennifer's doing and various things. We need more people looking after our community. I think we have to realise, that was a turning point for us. As Brad Burton said, he lost all his business, if you like, and he said, "We are the cavalry." Yeah. We are. There is absolutely nobody else going to come and help us. We've created the micro business alliance so that we can get big numbers. So if you're a member of a business membership organisation, or you're a customer of somebody like a company that you think really looks after micro business and various things, get them to join the micro business alliance, because government do listen to numbers, and we've got Ian Cass being able to say, well, I'm representing 1.2 million micro businesses. Well, if we get to 3 million, that'd be great. Get them to join the micro business lines. So we're doing two things. So at the policy time, we're making sure that this can never happen again, because we're too close to government for them to make these stupid decisions, discriminating. But the rest of it, the bit I'm interested in, the bit that you're doing, is actually about us working together as a community to protect ourselves and help ourselves and buy from each other and and actually be an early warning system for people that we think are suffering from, 56% of us have got mental health problems at the moment, and there's something like 35% with moderate to severe. So the potential for problems is massive, and so we've got to find ways of alerting each other, talking to each other, working. We're not in competition with each other. That's the point I'd like to make. We are in competition with a lot of exploitative corporate organisations and institutions.
We've got a comment here. Sadie Michaela says here, 10 of our team at Excluded UK trained as mental health first aiders. We needed them all, no help from the government. So just as you say there, no one's coming to save us. We are the cavalry. So just like that comment there, we have to train our friends, our colleagues to be mental health first aiders.
And we've got to raise funds. We've got to raise funds for those. As communities, we've got to raise funds for all these kind of things. And one of the good reasons for buying from each other, for example, which is a very simple thing, is because it's more likely then that we can actually get some funds from the people that we bought to actually help our community as well. And it's not just about money, it's also about time. It's about people volunteering in the communities and things like that. We are the communities.
100%.
And we've just got to suddenly realize that it's all of these things are normal in most countries. It's only in America and England. It's pretty good in Scotland. It's absolutely fantastic. New Zealand is wonderful. They don't talk about GDP. They talk about well-being budgets for the country. Seriously, it's normal in most countries that micro business owners work together in a community and protect each other and are well respected and valued. And we've just got to get to the same situation.
You know, I got a real kick the other day. I went and got my eyes tested. I put a post on LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it. And they were still laughing. I'm getting all like it, right? And I did a search for that well-known high street opticians. The turnover was something like in the group like 3.8 billion. So then I went around the corner and got my eyes tested, and it was such a kick off doing that. Small business, so. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting there with that sort of stuff. Bakers, butchers, barbers, grabbing coffee from someone. Our Jen's got a coffee place in Scarborough, hasn't she? Yeah. Looking after each other's businesses. Yeah. So when you talk about a community, is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly that. So Jen created this cafe, which is a very successful cafe. It's open 7 days a week, but it's actually got 30 different pop-up shops in it. Which means that 30 people working from home have actually got somewhere to display and sell their products.
Right, cool.
And that's the kind of thing that we've got to do. And we're doing it all the time. I'm doing it in Hull. We're doing it in New York. And I know we're going to work together, aren't we, to do it in South Shields as well. Yeah. But it's all of those it's 1,000 small things that are going to make the difference. But the first thing is to realise what you've done. I don't want to give my money to Specsavers.
It might not have been them.
No, it wasn't. All right.
It was there.
Yeah, but I don't want to give my money to I'd rather give that to a local.
Yeah. Okay, Wayne Shepherd watching. You talked about Hull there for a second, and we were down Hull 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe. Yeah. And what do you say about Hull? One of the most enterprising cities in the world. Yeah. And I felt pride for what they've done, and they're only like 2 hours from me here up on the northeast coast. And can we do that around the country? Can we have these little hubs doing that around the country, and can we connect all of those hubs together?
Yeah, we can.
Right.
I think we can, and it is like when I was sat at the table in Hull, everybody said around the table, of course, it only requires one person, and that was Charles Cracknell. In Hull has created the most enterprising city. One person has actually done it. But he's actually based it on all the principles that are in the book, The Happypreneur, because all those principles are being researched like crazy around the world. Government will never tell you what those principles are, because it doesn't suit their narrative. But basically, everything that's implemented in Hull meets those those principles.
Yeah.
And that's why they've got youth enterprise ambassadors, because we strongly believe that test trading and asking somebody who's actually started and run their own business for help are two of the major things that are going to ensure your success.
In your book, I remember there's a point where you didn't you say something like, you can't give advice unless you've sort of had like 3 years as well.
Yeah, well, that was the original, and up to 2004 we had that in England, and then in 2004 the scale-up movement came from the United States, and everybody started picking winners instead of putting billions and billions of pounds into the businesses that they thought would be the next unicorn, kind of thing. Whereas what you've got to do is develop an ecosystem so everybody's got a fair chance of succeeding and helping. And that's what they're doing in Hull, and making sure that anybody that wants any help can get it. And the majority of people that we help with these test trading grants are people that are on universal credit, etc. But if they've got the help based on the principles, 80% of them will still be trading in 3 years' time from startup, whereas in Silicon Valley, 1 in 10 will actually be trading in 3 years' time.
And we're becoming like that in the UK. I've got many friends who've been on these accelerators, and they get a 10k, 20k, 30k thrown at them from different investors, and it lets them test trade, if you like, for a year or so and take a salary. But it's not true test trading. It's being paid to hopefully create something like a unicorn.
Absolutely.
So an investor might do that 10, 20, 30 times, and if one comes off, then great. But the other 29 get kicked to the curb. And, in the States, they say, if you fail fast, it's fine. I worry about the mental health of some people who really, they hook themselves onto this going to be the business, and it doesn't.
And that fail fast, and 46% of the mental health problems are caused by financial worries.
Right. Okay.
And the majority of suicides are created by unmanageable debt. And what a lot of these, whatever you call them, growth thingamajigs and scale up this, first thing they're doing is saddling you with debts, with loans.
I've been talking about this loads lately. So there's a focus for startup. There's a focus for scale up. It's the piece in the middle that is missing for me, because we want numbers of startups because I think that's going to help unemployment. What do they call it? Employment inactivity.
But you want lots of surviving businesses. You don't want loads of startups with 80% of them not being able to trade in 18 months.
And the scale-up piece, we know that 95% of the businesses are micro businesses, not 9 employees.
Absolutely.
We don't want to scale up.
But that chunk in the middle, that's where all your new jobs are going to come from.
100%.
It's where all the innovation is going to come from. It's where your communities are going to be built, where your high street's going to look good.
These know this. You all know this, right? You all know this. Don't get us ranting. I want to touch upon the Micro Business Alliance. Then you mentioned that earlier on. We founded that back end of last year, kind of beginning of this year. Jill Port, who's just been on there, our Jennifer, Ian Cass, ourselves. Why did that come about? How did it happen? I know how it happened, because you went on a rant again and pulled us together and went, right, let's get this done. 1.2 million companies are represented at the moment. If you represent or have a membership organization or a customer base of over 100 companies, you join, and as a collective, we can come together. So at the moment, it's 1.2 million. Hopefully, you just touched upon there. Let's push for 3. Before you jump in and tell me all about it, I have been talking to education establishments, local authorities, membership organizations who are in industries that the government like, so like renewables and automotive and that sort of stuff. There's skepticism there because they don't want to sign on the dotted line for the Micro Business Alliance because they don't understand it, or they think it's a bit of a worry. Is it a risk? How can we get everybody to come behind this? They almost feel like, why are you doing it? There's nothing commercial in it for us. We just want to have a voice.
I think number one, we've got Jill wrote our values statement. So anybody that joins the Micro Business Alliance has got to sign up to our values. So that will exclude a number of organisations for a start. So that's fine. There'll be a number of organisations that just don't work. if their main objective is just to maximize shareholder value, then they're not going to be able to sign up to all our values. But the rest of the people, we're just saying, well, it hasn't worked with the business membership. All these organizations I've founded over the years up to the micro business alliance have all been founded with the business membership organizations in the UK that you can think of. So it hasn't worked, actually, business membership organizations representing 5.2 million micro business owners to the government, because that was proved with 3 million being excluded. So what we're trying to do with the alliance is get the attention of senior civil servants, of politicians on all sides of the house for 365 days a year, because we represent so many people. So we're in the discussions before they take another crazy policy off the shelf, if you like. And that's our chair, Ian Cass, is at the moment. He's been at the Conservative Party conference, he's at the Labour Party conference. And so he's actually talking on behalf of lots and lots of micro business owners. So the reason the local authority should be interested in is if it wants sensible policies for the micro business owners in its local authority area, then sign up. If you can sign up to our values, sign up. And we have somebody in there. There's no commerciality, there's no membership fees. In there 365 days a year with the minister. We don't even broadcast even to the members what has been said to the senior politicians. So what we're not saying we're great or we're fabulous, etc. We're just making sure that we've got a voice in the very highest places within government and oppositions, so that a tragedy like 3 million excluded can never happen again.
I can't even think of the website. Well, now the microbusinalliance.org or something. If you just check it out, have a little look. If anybody wants to write blogs, if someone's got some thoughts, maybe of what it's like to be back in business, that would be great, because I think that there's not many people understand. I mean, Ian Cass always says, that government think small businesses like big, but what did they say? Small business, made small, and it's not. Small businesses are very different. And then you have the SME acronym, which is thrown around, which we don't like, because we're not SMEs, we're micro businesses. It would be great if someone could create some content for us and pass it across, and we might put it on as a blog, because I love hearing real, authentic stories. We've got stuff coming through on the comments, real emotive stories that are truly authentic. That's where it's at, rather than just rhetoric,
And I think we've also got to be, we've got to value ourselves as, business owners. We're all business owners, whether we're freelancers, whether we're self-employed. Just call ourselves business owners. Don't start using their language. Don't start calling ourselves, well, I just run a small business, or I'm just an SME. I'm a proud business owner. I'm really proud that Claire and I started our business in 1986 and we're still in business today. Fantastic. It's a great achievement.
Got a comment here from Barry saying, I've got an untold story about why businesses suffered so long and the roles at the banks who were thanked and lionised by the government played that was responsible for this. And Barry's saying, happy to share. So when we look at excluded voices, is that something within that book? Is that like, what Barry should talk about their stories and how they were excluded?
It's really important. But I think, the point Barry's making is the fact that, when you think it is the government saying these kind of things, it is not. It's as Edward Bayer says, behind it, there are some very, very powerful forces actually, skewing that system. And, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, for example, are pretty influential in this whole kind of thing. It's when I did the call to action for the Micro Business Alliance, it was a result of the Liz Truss budget and all the business membership organisations saying how wonderful it was.
I remember,
24 hours later, the Chancellor was flying back from America, having met the banks after delivering that budget, and was told on the plane by Liz Truss that he no longer had a job, if you like, because it was a terrible budget for micro business owners, etc. But where is the power? Why was he in America the day after he delivered the? Because the power is in America, and it's with the big banks.
I did a post on LinkedIn the other day about was it the top startups to watch, and I think every single one was from London apart from one which was in Bristol, and they were all backed, like VC backed, and probably all male backed as well.
Exactly.
And you know, so the larger organisations, they just don't get it.
Well, and as Barry also knows, that's why we called it, hey, Westminster, don't blame the victim.
Yeah.
Because what they do is the same way as when you invade a country or whatever, you actually say, well, they had it coming. So if a load of civilians get killed in war or whatever, they don't count those. Yeah, they're collateral damage. Well, it's exactly the same with any type of discrimination. What you actually do is you use language and you talk about them in ways that actually depreciate them. And so, if you're not going for the growth agenda, then we're not interested in it.
Jill makes a really good point here. Sorry, I'm jumping in and out, Tony, but I want to include the viewers at home. Jill says, love the business owner's approach. Sadly, many freelancers don't think about themselves as business owners, and they really should. We need to change your mindset in the freelancer community. I've saw that as well.
Yeah.
Like, you say like, oh, you run your own business. Well, yeah, I kind of work for myself. Or, but like you're an entrepreneur. No, I just kind of,
Yeah. Well, it's Tim Campbell, who wrote the introduction to the Happypreneur. He always says that our objective is to make ends meet. Isn't it fantastic that we've created something, whether we're a freelancer, whether we've created something out of nothing to make ends meet for our family and friends. Yeah. Isn't that a fantastic achievement? Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I said, if we can actually convert people's mindset to actually think, I'm only running a small business, to actually thinking, I'm a proud business owner.
Yeah.
That would be really important.
Yeah. It's interesting that bit about make ends meet, because I think, a lot of us business owners, our runway is quite short, and you only kind of think, it only takes 1 or 2 months. We've just been chatting there about a late payment that I've got sitting there. It only takes a couple of months and we're out.
Yeah.
And I've got friends like this who'll sort of say, hey, it's all right for you, Ian, you can get up when you want. Or I'm like, whoa, hey, I don't know who's paying my wages in December, mate. You do.
Build your own pub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is a home office. Friends of mine will know who's paying their wages. I don't know who's paying mine. That's the roller coaster that we're all on. And that's why I think from a community point of view and a supportive point of view, it's great when you get people to come together in the chat and they're like, yeah, I've got $2,000 waiting in a log jam for late payments, and I'm the same as you. And it's good to share these stories. It's quite a lonely journey being a business owner.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to touch upon something that we're going to be doing next year is, doing Happypreneur Show, coming together. Yeah. We want to get out into more cities.
Yeah.
We've explored it a little bit lately. Obviously, we were in Scarborough last year for Micro Biz Matters Day, which was fantastic. And you inspired me then on to do my own bit, which was Micro Business Unite, which you came to in June.
Yep.
And we had another 100 businesses there in our local arts venue in the sunshine. It was fabulous. And now it's like, right, I want to keep doing that. And we're coming together with Jen, and we're going to get out there. And, So tell us a little bit about that. What can we do? And how can people watch and get involved?
Yeah. Well, basically, we want to get into as many cities as we can with the Be More Happypreneur Show, which will be performed by Ian, Jen Crowther, CEO of Yorkshire in Business, and myself. And basically, what we need is a host in those cities so that we actually bring together as many people, minimum of 200 business owners we want for each one we do. We bring everybody together, and it's an entertaining, fun, non-ranting.
I don't know about that.
No, it's a non-ranting show. But before it, We'll have a speaker from the host explaining what they want to achieve in their city for micro business owners and what they're actually looking to do in the future and various things. And one of the highlights of your Micro Business Unite event, which for me was the fact we had the HMRC Director of Small Business come along, and I actually took feedback directly from the 200 or 300 business owners in the room, didn't they? And so it's a way of, in that city, bringing everybody together and actually saying, what can we do? And so although there's entertainment and it's fun, that's to get people there. So we're actually performing something that will get some people there, give them some useful tips on starting and running their own businesses and surviving and thriving, but starting building that community. And hopefully we can leave it with the beginnings of the same, what we are achieving in Hull. So it's, what Jen's achieving in Scarborough, what you're trying to achieve in South Shields, and, what is definitely being achieved in Hull, we want to see if we can duplicate around England. And it's just about us looking after each other and pulling the communities together.
And that community, if that community wants to host an event, great, get in touch. We'll help you host an event. We'll help you pull your own community together. I did this back in November of 2022, and then I did it again in June 23 from a standing start after being inspired by Micro Biz Matters Day and thinking, I want my borough to do this. I want all these micro businesses in the borough to come together. And it was wonderful because what happens? They collaborate together. They meet new friends. They might get married. I might be like a Cilla Black, and I might put people together. It's been so interesting to see people on LinkedIn sharing coffees together. I'm like, you didn't know each other, but you met, and that makes me feel great as well. So we're pulling people together. So we can certainly come and help you do that in the communities. It's so fantastic. And I tell you what, we're not going to do as well. Bring a well-known TV celebrity to come and talk to you half an hour about how great they are. I'll motivate you for 40 minutes and then for you to forget tomorrow. We're going to do things like this, talk real world stuff. And
it's interactive as well. So the point is that the last part of the whole thing is with the hosts and us, and it's a Q&A session with the whole audience, isn't it? So, I mean, it's not just listening to us by any means.
There's so many networking or conferences where you're on the stage, the stage is high, you're sitting in there and you don't get to interact. We're the other way, aren't we?
Exactly. We're in the audience.
When we did it locally here, we did it in the cinema with a tiered seating so we could see everyone. We were the other way, we were down and they were high. And we got everyone's opinions and panels. It's great. So we want to do more of that in the UK and get more voices. But also
get big companies like Simply Business or a Micro Business Alliance. They're always doing things like that, getting their community of micro business owners together. So if you know a company that's like Simply Business, they would be ideal to host it in your city, wouldn't they?
They would do. And you might work for a large corporation. You might be watching this on LinkedIn. Encourage your directors, your managers to put an event on.
We can only offer you trust with your customers. We can't offer you anything more than that. But so don't ask us to measure what the impact is or how many leads we've created for you, because we won't be able to do that.
You're only as strong as your supply chain, Tony, and some of these large organizations will have us micro businesses in their supply chain as well. And you talk about we being the ones that innovate. If you lose the innovators in your supply chain, what are you left with? So actually, large industry should be trying their best to support us as well. And maybe that's where ESG comes in now. We're trying to work with smaller businesses. And don't get me started about the government did this maybe 10 years ago where they said a percentage of your turnover must be used to help SMEs. And they created these SME accelerator schemes. And we all went there thinking, oh, we're going to get a chunk of work off them, and it was just lip service. Nothing happened. So we have to do something about it ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So actually, it's rather than trickle down, which we always say, let's feed that up. So, if you're watching now from a large business, bring us in.
Yeah.
Let's create an event.
We have to get back to the situation that, Schumacher created, which was, small is beautiful, economics as if people mattered. And it's got to be trickle up. That's the point, not trickle down. We never get any of that. We don't get a penny of the trickle down.
Yeah.
It's got to be trickle up. So, for example, if you take pay in 30 days, just embarrass them. Adrian Ashton, I think, is on the thing, but there are a number of people I know there that are watching this. They, like my businesses, we pay as quickly as we can, because that was normal up to about 30 years ago. People actually just paid people as quickly as they just thought that was good business practice to build trust. I mean, someone like Lord Sugar will actually say that he actually created his whole Amstrad organization out of having brilliant relationship with his supply chain.
Right.
And, he paid them as fast as he possibly could. And Adrian Ashton pays within 24 hours. He makes that a part of his business.
Said that, look.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, let's lead the way and embarrass the hell out of them, for goodness sake.
So, people like Adrian, us, will try and pay as quick as possible. For the viewers at home, for the avoidance of doubt, why do people not pay?
Why do they? Because it makes huge amounts of money for them. So the big corporate, I mean, when I was managing director of an American subsidiary, it was the first time I realized, because my finance director reported into the States, and he actually said, well, look, we've got a treasury function. If we just move all the payments out another 15 days, then this is how much money we'll make through our treasury. Actually, we're a cash-rich business, so we actually make more money out of, and that's why Carillion went bust with 120 days terms, if you like, which left hundreds of thousands in debt, because it's not just the people in the supply chain, it's the people actually supplying. So and then there's a whole industry, invoice discounting, factoring, lending you money, credit cards use, all those. There's a great advantage to starve us from, so that we've got to use their services. So it's a massive, massive force. Small Business Commissioner is only actually interested, has only got a remit at the moment for actually large businesses paying small businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
She can only do something about that. Well, in actual fact, very few micro businesses are actually dealing with these top 100 companies that have got 45 to 120 days terms. Yeah, until you stop them actually with their suppliers giving them 45 to 120 days terms, then so you've only got to deal with 100 companies. That's why I said government just got to say, I don't contract with you unless you pay all your bills all the time within 30 days.
Well, Adrian talks out about the prompt payment code and being recognised as a pay on time.
And that's large companies to small companies again.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? It doesn't stop somebody charging 120 days to somebody else, and then that,
when I was a boy, I did a business studies A-level, and the lecturer said to me, the thing about businesses,
and it's voluntary, and the company's making huge amounts of money, like the supermarkets, the drug companies, all the big companies that are making huge amounts of money, they're not on it. The number of the top 100 companies that are on the prompt payment code is very, very small. I
was going to say, I was taught never to pay on time. Always keep money until the hound and you, ringing, credit control when.
You won't do it voluntarily.
And it's like,
they'll never do it voluntarily. But don't give them the furlough money unless they're paying 30 days all the bills all the time. Don't bail them out if they don't pay all the bills in 30 days all the time.
Shall I ask you a couple of questions?
Don't give them planning permission. Unless they pay all their bills all the time.
Stop them. I wanted to ask you a couple of bits and bobs from your book, but if you've got any questions for Tony, please throw them in the comments there. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the Happypreneur book, actually, whilst I'm thumbing through? Why did you write this book?
Well, because basically the Taryn Lee Johnson, who co-wrote it with me, felt there was a book in actually explaining the kind of principles which we've been researching and working on. So although it's written in a memoir kind of form, and it's got lots of contributors, there's about 30 different contributors. It's a huge book, isn't it? 408 pages. But that's because it's got so many contributors into it, say the foreword written by Tim Campbell. But the whole aim is to actually say there is another way of doing this kind of thing. And there are some certain things like Hull has actually built that we know from practical experience as business owners and from millions of pounds worth of research that we've had either done ourselves or had access to, that there are ways of actually us being able to survive and thrive. As I say, 80% of us will survive and thrive the first 3 years. And there is a way of governments developing ecosystems like Canada has done, like New Zealand has done, like Scotland and Highlands and Islands have done. Yeah, they've got an ecosystem where micro business owners are valued and they succeed. And so it really explains. So that was the driving force. The driving force wasn't just to tell my story, but Taryn thought it was a good way of linking it all together by saying how I'd learnt these things and who I'd learnt them from. And then people actually contributed and said why they work.
There's an interesting part in this, actually, and we just touched upon it offline earlier on, but you talk about female leaders and how you always work with female leaders because they get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly.
I look, you are very much around discrimination and inclusivity and trying to make sure, can you talk a little bit about that in terms of micro businesses? And
I mean, I just think that we have to lead the way. Probably the best way of describing it is my hero is Kanya King, CBE, and she created the MOBO Awards. MOBOs is now a movement, if you like. So within the music industry, music of black origin, but it's not just music now. It's all creative arts really and it's boxers as well. Women boxers like Barbara's a women boxer, isn't she? So absolutely fine. No, but honestly, it's about celebrating black men and women and all the things they're doing. It's like Nina Simone's song, Young, Gifted and Black. It's actually saying that we are actually creating the kind of change that we need. And so I've always been in favour of, and I know this isn't politically correct, but I've always been in favour of positive discrimination. So when I founded an organisation called SVEDI, which is Small Firms Enterprise Development Initiative, we had we started off with I think 6 staff, but three were black people and 3 were women of the 6. And that's how we started it off. And all my businesses have been equal partnerships with women. And I just feel it's the only way of encompassing diversity. A lot of people say they're interested in diversity, and you look at the board of directors, Yorkshire County Cricket Club, I've known for 20 odd years that it's institutionally racist. So although it says, wonderful things, you just had to look at the board, you just had to look at the security guards in the place, you just had do you know what I mean? So a lot of people pay lip service to it, and the way to do it is actually day to day embrace diversity, celebrate it, and work with all the people with all this wonderful mix of different cultures and creativity and various things like that. And last story about Kanya King, she always says that if you come from a place of truth, you've got the opportunity of standing up and making a difference. And that's what we're really about, isn't it? So, and that's why you need people from, all races, certainly both sexes and the LGBT community. We need everybody working together. That's the way to actually make it.
I think from a micro business point of view, we're great at that because we just have no discrimination. We're not, we're just
we can show the way in terms of all those things.
Like what Jill's doing there. Where's our Jill? From a organisation for responsible business point of view. Again, trailblazing. Small businesses trailblazing the way, and how to look at some of the challenges we've got around climate change, carbon reduction, all these great things. Small businesses, leading the way. This is what we do.
Exactly. And I mean, one of the things about happypreneurship, the philosophy, is about putting friends and family first, if you like, and it's about being useful. It's about doing something that you're good at, you're passionate about, otherwise you'll never keep surviving, really, and you're in love. And of course, all those things are involved in community. And I say in the book that I was taught philosophy by a guy who became chief rabbi, Lord Sachs, and he spent a whole lifetime just saying the we is more important than the I. And I think that's the whole. Taryn often says I'm a bit naive about this and a bit innocent about it because people do want to compete with each other all the time. But I think the stakes are too high for micro business owners to try and compete with each other all the time. I think we're under siege, and therefore we've got to make our community far better and be proud of everything we do and build our communities, because nobody else will do it.
I've seen a lot more collaboration going on, and a lot more posts on LinkedIn, and you're watching yourselves on social media. A lot more people come together like this and saying, like, we're competitors, but look, we work together. It's so good. I get such a buzz from it. I did a post on LinkedIn not so long about this, because there's so much work out there. We shouldn't be competitors. It's collaboration. There's so much work for us.
And I mean, Jennifer Griffiths looks after the excluded group and has been providing all this mental health counselling, things like that. There's 26,000 people on that Facebook group. We talk about 30 odd suicides, but by doing all the things like the karaoke and all the online singing and all the online parties they have and online quizzes they have and various things, like how many lives by a community coming together and helping each other have they actually saved? Thousands. They've saved thousands and thousands of lives just by a micro business owner community coming together.
And that community coming together as well, not only does it save lives, it helps with mental health. You help with mental health, then you help with physical health, because your brain and your gut are so linked. People are ill because they're stressed. You get it right at the start. It just all filters through.
I mean, can I throw another controversial thing in? It is about buying. So who
before
we
you
buy
do that,
for?
Before could you show Tony some love, please, on here, just for kicks? See if it works. So you click the love button on your on your social.
We won't get any.
We'll see. Sorry, Jimmy.
But I was just going to say about the community, about buying. This is really controversial for the large companies. They're going to hate this more than anything else. You are being sold at every single minute of the day. And remember what I said about most of the suicides and etc. come from unmanageable debt. Now you're being sold things. I've been campaigning as long about unavoidable business costs, utilities, all those kind of things all the time, broadband, stuff like that. If we just made one rule that we don't actually buy anything unless another business owner in our community says it's okay for us to buy it, it'll be a much better community, because we are often sold things that increase our costs that we don't actually use or need, because the power of the selling. Startup loans would be a prime example. They will talk about the billions they've lent. They will never talk about how many of those billions they've lent to startups how many of the startups are still in business, or what the return on investment of those billions are. Why? Well, but you do have to pay interest on these things. The banks underwrite it, and we're being sold things all the time that can increase our costs, because the fast way of us doing more is to actually reduce our costs. So that we've actually got more income to actually, But if we could just actually trust the business owners around and say, well, I was thinking of buying this accounting software package. Do we know anybody in the community that's got it? What's it like? Does it do the stuff? And then you'll buy it if it's okay.
There'll be tons of those Facebook groups out there in the UK. Like Nicola Mint Business Club.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Definitely. And they're all coming together in little communities and sharing knowledge and best practice with each other. We need to tie them all together.
That's the thing. That's the thing we need to do. And I think, and that's the whole idea of doing these Be More Happypreneur shows. It's just a kick-off point so that we can actually get it, you know, and out of the 300 people that we're talking to, we'll find, you know, like you said, you know, you got the idea of Microbiz Unite because you came to an event, and that's what, you know, we've done about 20 Be More Happypreneur shows. There's always somebody that actually says, I'm going to do something like that for our community. And that's all we're trying to do. Is we're trying to, you know, catalysts. What are we?
Yeah. Crazy.
There will be beer drinking.
So
lots of beer drinking. That's for sure.
I can pull you one now.
Wine,
from an accountability
wine diets,
an accountability point of view. Any wine from an accountability point of view, you know, it'd be great if someone in the comments said, yes, I want to host something, I want to start something. Yeah. Let's get together. We'll get you guys down. We'll do live streams like this, you know. Jennifer Griffiths just said there, Christmas Day, they have a morning Zoom.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Awesome, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely
fantastic. So, you know, putting things on like this, and I really appreciate you watching. You know, I deliberately did this between 12 and 1. Maybe you could jump out for lunch because I know you're busy. Tony's came down from Scarborough on the train to see me today, which is fantastic. So
I didn't get lost.
You didn't get lost, not at all. You've got to go home.
Didn't end up in Southampton.
So we understand your time is really precious. But yes, if we can help you at all in any way, you know, we've got the kind of bones set up for how you put events on things. I'd love you to do your events yourselves. Tony's going to give us something here.
Can I read a poem?
You can do.
Because I finish off every Be More Happypreneur show with a poem about a friend of mine who died about when she was 55, because all the people I do my runs and things are all around my hat, and they all died between the ages of 26 to 57. And it's really just to say about being useful, really, about, you know, we can all stand up, and as Kanye King says, we can make a difference and we can all be useful. Yeah. So this is somebody who wasn't, it was in the last few years, a micro business owner, but it's not about that. It's just about being useful. It's called One St. Jude. One St. Jude. Not had much luck spotting saints, just the 3. One was my philosophy lecturer, became chief rabbi, then a lord, barred from sainthood, obviously. 2 was one of my aunties, Dolly and Annie, lived in a prefab in Hull. Dolly looked after Annie. Auntie Dolly's body was bent. She was so old, about my age now, and I was 7, so I didn't record her miracles like bowling mystery off-spin for hours to knock my forward defensive into shape, which just leaves 3. The only one that counts, St. Jude of Willoughby High Street, where saints are not plentiful. So it's a right good spot by me of this 16-year-old saint. Willoughby High Street saints don't use their halos. They use mugs of coffee. As she hands you a mug, she tells you what's what, sorts you out, dry cleans you, stands up for you, suffers ridicule, stifles bullies, shows you the way to help all the people everyone else avoids. One St. Jude of many safe havens. And that's our kind of message, isn't it? Let's stand up for each other, and let's actually be useful and help each other in the future.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Tony. And again, you know, creativity, it's in your, you know, you're in your mind. You have to get it out somewhere. So I love your release and your words. And you're off to Malta shortly to write another.
Yeah, at the end of the year, psychological thriller, nothing.
Psychological thriller.
Psychological thriller. Yeah.
Great stuff. So we're gonna draw it to a close.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for coming up from Barbados. It's been wonderful to see you. We'll hopefully be back there shortly. If you'd like us to do this again, great. Hook up with us on LinkedIn or social media. Drop us an email. Check out the Micro Business Alliance. We'd love to see you in your hometown and get together and forge more communities and more collaborations.
Well, and we'll be doing from here, I think, the 2024, we'll be doing at least monthly a Be More Happypreneur show. So Jennifer Crowler and you and me.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You have the rest of a great week, and thanks again for joining us.